You analogized forcing a fetus into existence with forcing a person into a state of dependency by pushing them off a building and grabbing their wrist at the last second. The idea that we were even in the same ballpark of ethical or legal consideration is absurd, which is why I'm trying to get us back on analogous examples so we can actually discuss the issue at hand here.
0% of you are subscribed. Fix that.
Well, man. Oh my goodness, the amount of people that have wanted me to debate you, man, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right, man. All right, so hey, you base your stance on abortion based off of the bodily autonomy argument, right?
Yeah, because, I mean, I also don't believe in the personhood of zygotes and fetuses, but that's not an argument that's going to convince anybody. Like, that gets into a really esoteric philosophical.
Well, okay. Yeah, understood. So do you want to kind of just lay out your, like, exactly what the bodily autonomy argument is for you and why you believe that?
Yeah, sure. So in society, legally, at least in this country, we don't have a precedent established where a person is expected to sacrifice their bodily autonomy to preserve the life of an entity for whom they have responsibility. That is not a legal expectation that we have. So the example that I usually like to use is this one. If you're driving a car drunk and you get in a car accident, the car accident leaves you injured but the other person near comatose. The state cannot force you to donate your blood or anything else, any other part of your body, in order to preserve the life of the person who is a victim of your car accident. Even though the incident was your fault, and even though you are, in this hypothetical, the only person who could save them immediately enough, the state cannot criminally penalize you for not choosing to do so. So it's unfortunate, even if you believe that fetuses are persons, which I know you do, but it seems like there are grave legal consequences that could arise from us believing that one has a responsibility to sacrifice their bodily autonomy in those situations.
Let's say that because you're talking about bodily okay, so let me ask you this before I do this. Let me preface this. Do you believe that bodily autonomy always trumps the right to life of someone else?
Unless there's some sort of contractual incident which is involved, like they actually meaningfully, purposefully, and without coercion sign away some element of their bodily autonomy. With that exception, I would say that yes, bodily autonomy will always trump the life of another. Yeah.
Okay, so even if it will harm another person.
Yeah, we have to. Otherwise, you get into some really, really dangerous territory legally.
Okay, and also even if you invite that person, you're basically saying you can rescind consent at any time.
Yeah.
So say that a skydiving instructor invites you to go skydiving. Now, because you're new, they buddy up with you and attach themselves to your back, and then you both jump out. Now, about 10 seconds after jumping, the instructor is no longer feeling this shit, right? And they decide to rescind consent. They no longer want you to use their body or their resources, right, or their property, and they use both. And the use of both of their body and their resources is taken away, right? You fall to the ground and die. Did the instructor do anything wrong?
Yeah, I would say so.
What did he do wrong?
I would say that part of being a skydiving instructor involves some contractual obligation. You're driving with friends in the car, and you're not a great driver. You're legally allowed to drive, and you are a poor driver. Through your own fault, nobody else's fault, in ways that are not illegal, you end up crashing the car and putting one of your friends into a severe medical situation. Does the state have the legal right to force you into providing your bodily resources in order to save that friend's life? Can they criminalize you for saying, no, I love my friend, but I'm not going to sit here for 3 months while my blood gets cycled through their bloodstream?
Yeah, again, this really isn't that much different from your original drunk driving thing. You're just saying that, okay, well, instead of there being a crime, somehow you crash. It is your fault, but it's not illegal. So, okay, that's fine. It doesn't really change my answer that I gave you.
Wait, can you answer the question, though?
So through actions of my own, I quote unquote force that person into a state of dependency on me. Again, when you're analogizing this to pregnancy and to abortion specifically, it's really no different. So,
should the state be able to criminally penalize you deciding to not lend your bodily autonomy for the sake of your friend's
Again,
life.
that's not analogous. That's not analogous to abortion at all.
Wait,
Especially
this is
not to the
perfectly
pro-life
analogous.
stand. Especially not to the pro-life
you
stand.
have an innocent person who, through your actions in a non-illegal context, it's not illegal to be a bad driver, is put now in a state of physical dependency on your body.
But I didn't kill them, right? You're saying even if they die, I'm not responsible for their death legally. You're saying
if they either die or you lend your bodily autonomy to them to preserve their life.
Not saving someone isn't the same as killing someone.
Hold on, I understand the issue now. I completely understand the issue now. You actually can't engage with the bodily autonomy argument because you're not capable of recognizing the distinction between killing something and not providing.
Entire fucking time.
Wait, hold on. You actually can't engage with it. There's a difference between killing something and no longer providing your bodily resources to something.
That would be analogous to rape. I believe in evictionism, or quote unquote, it's an abortion in cases of rape.
How can you not recognize that this is perfectly analogous? If you have sex,
I don't believe in God, so I don't know what you're talking about.
If you have sex and the pregnancy takes place, then by natural biological forces, the life of that zygote is attached to the womb. But it is because you had sex that
doctor isn't natural forces, Vaush.
Well, yeah, but why is it different? Is it unethical for a human to do the work that a natural force would otherwise do?
So wait a minute. Are you legitimately trying to compare the natural forces
I'm
that you
asking
just
you
talked
why it's
about
unethical
versus a doctor who consciously made the decision to hook you up to someone?
Well, I'm asking you because in both cases, it's your fault why this life is dependent on you, and you're the only one who can save them. So why should the doctor not do what your womb would otherwise and hook you up?
Again, you shouldn't be. No one should sacrifice, their bodily autonomy for that, right? If you are saying that you are not responsible for killing of that person, then absolutely not. Even if you were responsible for killing of that person,
you drove the car. It's your bad driving.
Okay, but if they die, are you responsible for killing them?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. You're putting the special parameters that have nothing to do with abortion. When it comes to abortion, Vaush,
we're just
please
talking about
operate on good faith. Please operate on good faith.
No, nothing about this is bad faith. I need you to understand that these are completely analogous examples.
They're not. You saying that over and over again to gaslight your own.
That's not
audience.
what gaslighting is. What is disanalogous here? Is it your fault that the person needs your life to survive?
Is it your fault that the person needs your life to survive?
In this example that I have provided, in this analogy.
Is it your fault that they need your life?
You drove. It's your bad driving. That's the reason why there was an accident.
Okay, so if it's my bad driving, why am I not going to be charged for the killing of them?
Because it's not illegal to drive poorly. If you'd done better, your friend wouldn't be in that position. It's your fault. You wake up and you're hooked up to your friend who's dying. Why? Why is it unethical for the doctor to do that?
Well, why would it be right? I'm not understanding.
Because it was your fault that your friend is about to die and you're the only one who can save them.
Okay, again, you're proving my point, right? So like I said, choosing to save someone isn't the same as killing them, Vaush. Or choosing not to kill them.
That's my argument. Okay, wait, actually, I have a different hypothetical. Hold on. Wait, this is a little wacky, but I'm genuinely curious, okay? If humans were reptiles, I know this sounds dumb, but please follow through with me here, okay? So the way, so the way humans work is that we incubate living things in our wombs and then we poop them out, basically, okay? If instead we were reptiles, when we fertilize eggs, we lay those eggs and then have to take care of those eggs in order for them to hatch. You got to sit in them for a couple months. Do you think it would be unethical for humans to have sex, to fertilize eggs, to plop those eggs out, and then to just fucking ditch them? Like inside, you got little human zygote things.
Okay, so hold on. I don't know why we're talking about the reptilian people, but okay. So you're saying that if we were I'm gonna grant you this. You're saying that if we were reptiles, and what happens now?
Do you think it would be unethical to lay fertilized eggs as a reptile, as a female reptile, I guess, and then to just abandon those eggs, knowing that there are little zygotes inside of them that are biologically identical to what a human woman would carry in their womb now? Would it be okay to leave those eggs, not warm them? They die and rot on their own.
So you're like own children essentially.
Yeah, they're your kids. You have sex. You don't want to have kids, so you just like leave the eggs to rot somewhere behind a dumpster. Do you think that would be ethical?
So what you would equate that? Okay, but I'm not trying to talk about reptilians. I'm trying to bring this over. But I'm going to grant you this. But I'm just thinking it through in my head. So okay, so would we say that this is the same as a mother who has a child who leaves their kid out to starve and doesn't do anything for them. They just don't want to be bothered with them.
Well, no, because at that point, they've already given birth to the kid. In this case, I'm testing your hypothetical. I'm testing your moral consistency.
Well, what does it matter?
Because you just said there's a difference between killing a fetus and not attaching yourself to sustain the life of somebody who requires you to live. Those eggs are detached from you. You can walk away if you want, but they need your continued support in order to live.
So tell me how, if someone is holding onto my arm, or I'm holding onto them actually, and I am holding them off of an edge, are you telling me that has nothing to do with bodily autonomy, even though they are completely dependent on my body?
No, that's really not a bodily autonomy issue. Again,
how is it not?
If I pointed a gun at you and then you were like, dude, don't
pull. Going into other analogies.
No, but this is how dumb it sounds. If I point a gun at you and you're like, dude, don't pull the trigger, and I'm like, you don't have any right over my bodily autonomy, and then I pull the trigger, like that's not
That's not the same thing at all. Because I'm not
a bodily autonomy issue.
No, it isn't. Exactly. That's not a bodily autonomy issue because you're not dependent on that person's body for survival.
You're dependent on me not pulling the trigger.
You are operating in such bad faith. So hold on. So you're saying that if somebody is hanging, if I am holding someone over the edge of a cliff, that is not any way, shape, or form related to bodily autonomy, even though that person right there is completely reliant on my body for survival. But you can't actually articulate how it's not.
What if the gun had a reverse trigger? So
when I
point the gun at you,
talk about what I'm talking about. Please
this is
perfectly
analogous. Hold on. What if the gun has a reverse trigger?
You can't even talk about my analogy. You can't even tell me how it's not. How it's
the same analogy, just with the nouns replaced. Okay.
Bro, if it's the same analogy, then go into my analogy. Tell me specifically.
If I point a gun at you, okay, and it has a reverse trigger, so I depress the trigger to prep the mechanism.
You're worse than like Victoria Hammett. You're like the most bad faith arguer.
No, hold on. Okay, I want you to get behind this argument, okay? Because this is how dumb you.
I'm not getting behind shit.
Wait, this is how dumb you sound. Come on, let me.
What I said.
Wait,
Vaush, I have no problem.
This isn't bodily autonomy. It's just not. So all I can do is make fun of the absurdity of your example, and I was going to do it in a funny way. We were going to have a laugh together.
Hold on. So this is so. Wait a minute. So you're just appealing to ignorance. You don't know how it is, but you're just saying it's not.
You don't know how it isn't.
How is it not?
This isn't a bodily autonomy issue. This is just murder.
How is it not?
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Vaush,
I need you. I just want to know. I want to know.
Vaush, please. Vaush. So the thing that makes it not bodily autonomy in your mind is because you force that person into that state of dependency, right?
No, it's not because you force that person into a state of dependency. Oh my God. Okay.
You forced them to be there, right? Did you force them to be?
It's not.
You're saying it's because you did that. So in this exact
initial
example,
act was a crime. Yeah. Having sex isn't a crime. Wait, can I ask you my question?
So wait.
If I have a gun, you know those guns that have I don't know if they're called reverse triggers, but the gun only fires when the trigger gets pulled back out. Like depressing it only primes the mechanism and then you let go of the trigger and it fires, you know what I mean? So if I point that gun at you and I pull the trigger and then I point the gun at you, and then at this point you are now relying, dead man switch, you are now relying on my bodily autonomy because I have to continue to depress this trigger. So, like, would it be a bodily autonomy issue? It's just murder. It's just murder with extra
You're not
steps.
relying on. That's not what bodily autonomy is.
Wait, how is that not bodily autonomy?
No, because I am not dependent on your body at all.
Yeah, you are. You're dependent on my hand staying in a clenched position.
No. What I am dependent on, we're not even dependent, is that. Well, I guess you would say dependent. You're going into so much disanalogy or so many disanalogous situations to try and have some I don't know some they're not the same. And if you don't understand that they're the same, I don't think that I can help you, right? Because I've talked about this multiple times. You do not understand what it's one of two things. Either A, you do not understand what bodily autonomy is, or B, you do understand what bodily autonomy is and you're just operating under complete intellectual dishonesty, right? So if you are saying that by holding someone over the edge of a cliff, at this point, we're kind of, this is kind of like circular.
I think we already addressed, fundamentally, we already addressed like the underlying difference that we have. And like, you think that it's okay for the state to like peer down into people's bedrooms and make sure that that there are situations where they can like criminally penalize people for, a straw man. There are literally back alley abortions that take place. You literally want that to happen. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Kapam.
You blew some Nazis